Okay, hello again. This video is going to be focused mainly on the sump, the overflow, and the return. Okay. As I already told you in the previous video, if you watched my 55-gallon video, everything that I had in the 90, my unfortunate collapse of my 90, is now in this sump, this 40-gallon sump, and my 55-gallon that I have here. All right. Again, it's very crowded. There's a lot of deep sand bed here, a lot of rock. Some rock I couldn't even fit. I moved it down here. This is my second power head. Okay. Again, way over powered for this, but I have it low enough, and it's just kicking up crushed coral down here, and it's just making some nice gentle waves up here just because I have it sitting so low. So it's doing the job for right now. Again, I'm gonna change this soon because I don't really have my refugium up and running. See, I have no lights down here. Every time I'm down here, I'm pretty much working in the dark or with a little flashlight. So right now I just have rock in here, and this is what I used to this is where I pretty much dose my tank. So it's not really a refugium yet, it's just a dosing area. But it's got a pretty high flow rate, obviously, because it's got a 1200 rated power head in here. This guy, alright, what is it low? Alright, so obviously due to evaporation it's low right now. I haven't filled my tank up in about 3 days. So it takes about 3 days for me to actually need to add more water to this due to evaporation, which is pretty good, I think, considering I don't even have a lid on the top. Again, a no-no for the rest of you guys, but I'm kind of just doing this as I can. There's Giggles, my clownfish, and that's PRS Cargo, and I got PD in here. He's another gerbil snail, but he's kind of hiding right now. So enough with that. I'm gonna talk about pretty much what I have going on in here. In here I got, don't mind the scuzz that's kind of up there right now. That's only in there because I don't have a good flow in this chamber right now. As you can see, all I have is the MaxiJet 1200 down there that's feeding the Terminator 2. And this, which is obviously not all the way down at the bottom, is just breaking the surface, and it's a pretty steady flow, but it's just not enough to break up all this stuff here. But once I get something, a little wave maker up here, or surface skimmer, put it right there in the corner, and hopefully break up a lot of this gunk over here. Because as you can see, if you move on to this next chamber over, because of all this crazy movement I got on here, this is pretty crystal clear. You can see right through the bottom, no issues. And obviously my return chamber. Now, if you remember on my 90, this was completely hard plumb all the way. For the overflow section, it's still hard plumb all the way. I managed to save pretty much all of it. I had to buy minimal amount of tubing and just tubing I needed to make the overflow, really. So I saved this end. Now this end, obviously, I could not hard plumb it because I did not have a return spout up on the tank. My tank is not drilled. So I have this hose right here. This is actually, I found it at a yard sale for 20 cents. It belongs, I believe, to either like a washer or a dryer type deal. I've seen them before at the hardware stores. They're not that expensive even if you buy them new. But it's big and snaky, and obviously way too big for it, but it's doing the job. And actually, because of its length, I actually have it sitting all the way down at the bottom, and I'm not sure if you can see it because of the lights right now, but because it's down at the bottom and feeding water all the way down, any air that actually gets stuck in the line, it creates bubbles, and the bubbles go right back up here. So I have no air bubbles entering the tank, which is awesome. The only thing I do have to worry about is if we get a power outage, obviously. All that, since it's all the way at the bottom, it will feed back in. So for right now, it'll be there. But as soon as crazy weather season starts, I'm gonna move that back up, and or find a way to hard plumb it, which might take me a while, but that's what I got for right now. So that pretty much does it for the video on the sump right now. If you have any questions on how to build the sump, it's fairly easy. I got the acrylic from Lowe's. All right. The only thing I'll ask you is don't cut your acrylic at Lowe's. All right. They cut these pieces and, well, they're horrible. They're jaggedy. The edges aren't straight. Some of them aren't even to the size that I specifically cut them to, or wanted them to cut it to. If you have a power saw, by all means, do it that way. I did not at the time when I made this sump. I do now, and if I had to do it all over again, I would definitely just buy the big sheet of acrylic and cut it myself. That way I know it's done right. But it's not hard, not at all. The baffles work perfect. The only thing I wish is that this chamber right here was higher, because when on my 90 I had flow problems, and the main issue was that I could not get this to level out and the return, the overflow to feed at the same rate that this was pulling back up. And anytime that I would, it would overflow over the top of this because there was just too much water coming in this chamber. So just FYI, if you ever think of doing this, just make this baffle over here a little higher, or even just go all the way to the top to the rim, and that would definitely eliminate any of that. And because this baffle, this chamber right here, is plenty big enough, there should be no issue of water going down in here. The only issue might have is maybe this baffle right here would be wide enough and water can't get over fast enough, but no big deal really, because this baffle is really only here for air bubbles, right? Just so you get air bubbles, you don't get air bubbles back in here. But if it overflows over here, no real big deal, especially if it's a slow overflow, because your pump's gonna make air bubbles anyways. Even the most expensive ones, they're still gonna make air bubbles when you're coming in, as long as you angle down where your water's coming in. Obviously, this is a perfect example. Not the best example, obviously, because if the power went out, all that water would get siphoned back out. But just slightly angled down, maybe about to here on your exit nozzle, and you should be okay. But right now, I have definitely enough room that it would not overflow this if the power went out. So kudos to that one. Also, if I ever do get my 90 back up and running, I will remake a sump. I'll just tear this one apart and I'll make it so this guy would actually fit in the chamber, and I'll just make the refugium size smaller. This is a pretty big refugium actually. Again, I made it that way because it was supposed to be for a 90, and now it's way big for a 55, but that's fine. No big deals there. That's really all I have for the sump right now. I'll make an update video later when I get there. But again, if you have any questions on the sump build, how I did it, or why I have things the way they are, just send me a message, let me know. Or if you have a suggestion, I'm always open to suggestions. Thanks.